May 27th, 2023. The SBRL Cup Series was ready for another round of the season. Season 6 was well underway as we had reached the playoffs. Going into Dover, it would be a heated battle to see who could come out on top and have a shot at Miami for the championship. Now, this race would be no ordinary race. Sure, Dover is an interesting track, one of the most high-banked short tracks that the SBRL'S Cup Series races on. For this race, tensions were indeed high. You see, Dover was the second to last race in the round of 6, with Charlotte being the last before we headed to Homestead for the Championship 4. A win here could help out in the points a lot, especially for anyone who was falling behind. Some drivers went to go practice before the race. However, it wouldn't necessarily go as planned. You see, coming out of turn 2, the 11 and 32 cars make contact, sending the 32 down to the inside wall, as well as the 11 of Clef. 32 bounces off the wall and comes back up the track, slamming into the door of V12. This would send both of them spinning. But then, the unexpected happened. The 32 spun out backwards. The back end of his car lifted up into the air, and he flew into the catch fence. The 8 of Nerf would just barely scrape by this incident, as the 32 came back down off the catch fence and slid into turn 1. This was certainly a freak accident, but at the time, no one had any idea that it would set the tone for the race. The cap for the field for this race was 9 drivers, though only 8 showed up, so that meant that everybody would qualify. Taking the pole position would be Shifty, with V12 behind him. Close behind V12 was Iron in 3rd, then Nerfy, no, not Nerf, Nerfy, would take 4th. Clef would round out the top 5, with Cal right behind him. Then it would be Dirge, and finally, me, Nerf, with a blazing time of 30.013. These 8 drivers would take to the track shortly after to begin the 125-lap event. The race was split up into 2 stages. The first one, also the shortest, being 56 laps, with the final stretch to the finish being 69 laps. The race would actually be shortened by 10 laps to be 115 long total. However, it wouldn't take 115 laps for the first trouble to arise. It would actually come on lap 4, when the 32 of Nerfy made a very odd move, deciding to send it coming out of turn 2. This would obviously not end well, and resulted in V12 Tanker getting propped up on the back of another car. Luckily, though, he would end up getting down without there being any need for a caution.
Now looking to get around Tanker, he's not going to quite do so, and because of that... Oh my goodness!
The next incident was not caught on camera, as, well, neither driver involved were recording it, and it happened further back in the pack. You see, just after passing the line to reach lap 36, I accidentally went into turn 1 too hard, and I bumped Dirge, sending him up the racetrack. I let off to try and let him come back down in front of me, although that didn't work out as he went up and hit the outside wall exiting turn 2. Now, this was when I just decided to pass him, and I ended up being about to the halfway point, right in the middle of his car going down the back straightaway, with my front end aligned with his door. Now, we were in the middle of the back straightaway, and while I was holding W, Dirge had other plans. He turns hard left into me, sending me spinning backwards and doing a blowover. This was the second time now that a car had done a blowover on the back straightaway, first with Nerfy in the pre-race practice. This incident brought out a caution after the commentators finally noticed that I was upside down on the back straightaway. Of course, I had no evidence to prove my point, but I said in the chat that I'd been intentionally wrecked by Dirge. The commentators were clearly interested in what happened by the tone of their voice. However, it wouldn't end up being that big of a deal, as Dirge would not get a penalty. The next big incident in the race would come just after crossing the line to end lap 69, when they were 3 wide for second, with Nerfy being on the high side, V12 in the middle, and Dirge on the bottom. Nerfy made a odd move, cutting down on V12, which forced him into Dirge. The two hit the inside wall, with the 27 and 29 both getting loose and sliding up into turn 1. The 29, however, would not end up being very lucky, as he would overcorrect the car and turn right, just cutting across the nose of Cal's car and spinning him into the outside wall backwards. However, miraculously, Dirge would end up spinning back around and being able to keep the car straight, falling in line behind V12. The incident would not result in a caution, as Dirge was able to save it. However, it was certainly an odd move by Nerfy, who we are definitely not done talking about.
Too far down. They're going 2 rows of 3 wide, and
Oh!
Nerfy's gonna shove them both down.
They say,
Nerfy, that's 1 out of 3.
Oh wait, 29 keeps it straight.
Lap 112 just about resulted in absolute disaster. Again, coming out of turn 2, which seemed to be the trouble spot for the day, the 27 of V12 gets too high coming off the corner, and just barely hits the quarter panel of the 37. This would spin him down into Nerfy, who was below V12 at the time. However, because of that, the 37 will be able to keep it straight. If these guys had ended up wrecking, they would have been in the back of the field, and would have had to come back to the front with few laps remaining. This very well could have changed the outcome of the race.
It's not good for him. Shifty's gonna get a good exit, but he gets caught by Tinker!
Saves it!
The final lap of the race would turn out to be a very eventful one. V12 would take the white flag, with Dirge in 5th. I want you to remember that. It looked like it was going to be either Nerfy, V12, or the 37 machine for the win, as they were all very close together in the top 3, the 32 being right behind V12 and the 37 below him. However, this is when, well, remember when I said we weren't done hearing of Nerfy? Well, he makes a very controversial move, which turns the 27 down into the 37. This would end up bottling up the whole field as they go nearly 5 wide in turn 1. Because of the field being slowed up, it would allow Iron and Dirge to get out first and second. Now, it isn't shown on camera, but as Dirge and Iron were on the middle of about in the middle of the back straightaway, Clef had just full sent me into turn 1, which put us both up into the wall. I got sideways from it and nearly spun out, though was able to keep it straight as we both rode along the wall with the 11 being right on my bumper. What is shown on camera, however, is me saying Clef in chat. I was obviously very confused, as I did not know what I did to anger him. Now, I didn't mention this, but Clef had also attempted to take me out earlier in the race. However, he epically failed. Iron and Dirge were single file in positions 1 and 2 in the middle of the back straightaway. It looked like this was going to be Iron's race, even though it probably shouldn't have been in the first place. However, that would not turn out to be the case, as Nerfy gives Dirge a massive push. This allowed him to get to the inside of Iron, just barely, but just enough so that when he tried to cut down, he sent both of them into the inside wall. They both got back on the track by the time turn 3 came around, but Iron would slide up. Dirge also slid up, but he was just underneath Iron, and he had nobody to challenge below him as well. And what followed was a very beating and banging battle, as Iron slammed the wall and Dirge would slam up into it, I guess to make sure that he stayed put. Coming to the line, they would be side by side, with Dirge barely edging out for the win by a bumper. Remember, he was in 5th when he took the white flag, and he was in no position to win that. But he had just won. This would end up punching his ticket to the Championship 4 at Homestead, where he would end up finishing last of the championship cars. What also wasn't caught on camera was the final incident of this weird and wacky race. You see, remember when I said that Clef had failed to full send and pass me in turn 1? Well, he wasn't done yet, as going into turn 3 he had another idea. Instead of full sending me, he decided to brake a bit, as to punt me up into the wall, and then not go too fast as to hit it with me, so he could undercut me and then take the position by the time we got to the flag. However, this wouldn't go as planned. He did end up punting me, and I went up into the wall, but exiting turn 2, he would hit it as well. He would end up being able to get below me, but by the time we got to the checkered, it didn't mean anything, as I would get the position.
We're coming up on the white flag here.
Oh,
Shifty's
Shifty's
on the
there.
inside of V12. V12
He's
is just
there.
barely there. Here comes
White flag.
No!
No!
Nerfy
Yeah,
turns
don't do it.
V12. And here comes Iron.
Oh,
They're all shoved up.
everyone's backing up. Who's it going to be?
Iron's now in the lead.
Iron
That
from
is completely
nowhere.
shifted the race. Iron in the
The
lead. Here
Birds.
comes
Oh,
they turn
he's
each
on
other.
the block.
Oh, Sub turns Iron. He's trying to get another win. Is he going to get there? Sub's on the inside.
It's gonna be
Iron
close.
first on the outside. Iron is on the wall.
It's going to be close.
Sub will win at
The
Dover.
29 wins his way
my
to the
goodness.
championship 4.
What the hell was that?
Based on what I've just told you, you could probably already tell that this race was marred with controversies, weird moves, a lot of them being by Nerfy. Obviously, people were not very happy with him after the race. However, he would not be penalized. Neither would Dirge or Clef for on-track incidents that I mentioned earlier. This race, as well as the practice before it, which we have talked about, showcased wild freak accidents that were never seen before and will most likely never be seen again. This was definitely one of the most interesting races in SBRL history, featuring rivalries, tense battles, controversies, and freak accidents, as I mentioned earlier, as well as a crazy finish. This was certainly, at least from my knowledge and my opinion, SBRL's most cursed D1 race. I'm Nerf, and this was... Wait. Oh, no. You gotta be kidding me. I already said the thing. Whatever, I'm not cutting this out. Just... bye. Don't go watch my other videos. They're not worth it. They're like just a couple stop motions. One of them's like years old. Bye.